Greetings, Culturians, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we have to talk about impending doom. I know that sounds like something that I do pretty regularly, especially when it comes to the Disney company, but they just kind of project that on everything that they touch these days. And I don't care if you want to look at what we talked about on the Snow White video that we dropped yesterday, or on any of the more recent videos where we just kind of pick apart all of the poor decision making and poor leadership that led Disney to this point. It also led them to some very bad decision making on who to put in charge of their probably the most profitable franchise they ever got their hands on, Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and everything that went along with that. Well, The Mandalorian and Grogu is not a capital expense. I mean, they're spending money on it for sure, but it's the lowest budget of any Disney Star Wars movie, and that says something. They are really trying to keep it down to the short and curlies, and they have to, because this has to be a profitable film. It has to be a win, and they haven't had one in a while. Is this thing going to revive Disney? Is it going to revive Star Wars? Is it going to create an emotional bond with an audience that long since abandoned it because of season 3? Well, we're going to look into it and see what you think. So, here we go. Now, before I get started, just a real quick reminder, I'm trying to get to 50K, so please do me the small favor of double checking you're still subscribed. A lot of people reported last week that they were getting unsubscribed at record numbers. I mean, we had a transition, over 2,000 people that joined the channel, but we had a significant number of people that found themselves unsubscribed. So just go down there, make sure that that button is not red. If it is, click the red button, turn it to gray, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Then hit the silver bell icon and turn on all notifications. And then if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up button, because I think you're going to want to talk about this. You see, that Park Place is actually talking about the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. It's the lowest budget of any Disney Star Wars movie, and Trevor wrote a great article here, so let's go through it. This May, Mandalorian and Grogu will mark the first Star Wars film in 7 years to hit theaters. The theatrical debut of Pedro Pascal's bounty hunter and the alien sidekick introduced on the successful Disney Minus series achieves what few industry experts expected. It has the lowest production budget of any Disney Star Wars film to date. And look, this has to be cheap. They were spending film money levels when they were making the TV show, and they only have to make something that's not even 2 hours long. In fact, if you look at what this projected runtime is, it's going to be under 2 hours. It's also going to be something that sets a new precedent, maybe for Disney, maybe something that they need. Some financial controls. You see, Disney's recent franchise films like Avatar and Avengers have seen ballooning budgets, and if you see the final Doomsday budget, it's going to be easily in that 400 million range after marketing, if not more. So these budgets require massive box office returns for a studio to even think about turning a profit, let alone breaking even. With the latest Star Wars film, Disney may be setting a new course for all future projects. And let's be honest, they absolutely need to. A leaner Star Wars would be a big win, and Collider reports that according to the data from the California Film Commission, The Mandalorian and Grogu appears to have an overall production budget of $166.4 million. Additionally, the film received a state tax credit for $21.75 million, which will bring down the total cost to the studio. And those numbers stand out in stark contrast to where Disney has, put the budgets for previous films, especially the Rey Palpatine saga that ended so disappointingly. In fact, that was a franchise that went the opposite direction. Instead of increasing earnings over time with every sequel, it decreased across the board. They've been running into that lately, pretty much everything they're producing, and if that proves true with Doomsday, they're in some real trouble.
A good question for another time.
Now, as you can see here, here's some of the recent budgets. The Star Wars The Force Awakens, 2015's film, $245 million. That's a pretty decent budget. Rogue One got $200 million from an unknown property with, people praying for creativity because, it was a point-and-shoot situation at that point. And Star Wars The Last Jedi in 2017, they spent $317 million on. They also took a chance on Rian Johnson, who promptly ruined the direction that J.J. Abrams had taken the franchise. And then the biggest mistake of all, Solo, a Star Wars story, which lost a giant sum of money. With a budget in 2018 of $275 million, it really didn't fail to disappoint, which means it definitely disappointed. And finally, Star Wars: The Rinse of Soybeans in 2019, $275 million was what the budget was. But here's the problem. The number for a couple of these Disney Star Wars movies, those initial numbers, are well below what we found out later because of the access to the UK film data that they have to be very transparent on to receive tax credits over there. A little bit different in California. So for comparison, Geek Tyrant reports that the reason that the Mandalorian TV series was believed to cost between 100 and 120 million, and I think that's for each season, the budget of a feature film was only slightly higher, which means that the bar for success is significantly lower. Well, I don't know about success, but for profit, yeah, it's a good conversation. And The Mandalorian and Grogu does not need to be a billion-dollar hit in the crowded summertime marketplace to put Disney in the black. And that's going to be a big win. Now, it's been a long time since people at Disney have been thinking this way. And I could say that probably the only person that was thinking this way early on would have been Jon Favreau. He's one of the reasons why The Mandalorian was a success to begin with. It's one of the only reasons that he was able to start to develop further series outside of The Mandalorian, but staying within that Star Wars framework in that given part of the galaxy. We were going to build on a lot, and it all got torn down when they got rid of Gina Carano, who was the future of the franchise. And if you want a strong woman, she was it, which is, I believe, why they got rid of her. Regardless, director Jon Favreau's ability to stay under budget is likely a relief to Disney executives. It's also worth noting that the production of The Mandalorian and Grogu has been relatively quiet, with none of the costly drama that preceded other Star Wars features. Solo, for example, was reportedly shot twice. And you know what? We're pretty sure it was shot completely twice by two different sets of directors, because Kennedy fired Lord and Miller and brought in Ron Howard, who was already in a kind of a deep hole as far as the expectations for that film. While the lean budget is a smart financial strategy, it raises new questions for fans about the cinematic experience. Will the film feel worthy of the Star Wars name? And you know what? You can't fault anybody for feeling that way. It's been a long time since we've had anything that really felt like Star Wars, and the first two seasons of The Mandalorian were it. But once they booted out Gina, I have a feeling a lot of people lost interest. And of course, the replacement of Gina with a terrible Ahsoka recreation, because that happens to be one of the Star Wars creators, fetish. It's really created some problems and some distance between the regular fans and, well, some of the newer folks that have arrived to pretend they're fans of Star Wars. But fan expectations and concerns, as the least costly Star Wars film in the Disney area, fans are worried that Mandalorian and Grogu look cheap. I don't think it looks cheap, but they did go for a cheap gag in the Super Bowl. And after waiting for 7 years for the franchise to return to theaters, after a series of divisive TV projects, that's a good way to put it, Trevor. I mean, The Acolyte was quite garbage. But anyway, you got the poor reception of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Andor. And of course, outside of critical acclaim, what did it do? Disney Plus didn't grow because of Star Wars. Disney as a company didn't grow because of Star Wars. In fact, they haven't even grown because of Marvel after Endgame, because they've treated all of these IPs so very poorly. So the question being, with how inexpensive the original Star Wars film was in A New Hope, and how much George Lucas was able to get out of a dollar way back then and before its release in 1977, I would say that they're really going to try to do the same thing. Does that mean more innovation? Probably not, but it'll be some. Does it mean that California is the best place to shoot this? No, would have been better to shoot in Atlanta because it's cheaper. But is it better for the people of California who are still in the production business to get this gig? Yeah, I'd say so. But I wouldn't discount the skeptics, because a lot of people are still calling out that stupid Super Bowl commercial. The latest round of marketing for the film, the Super Bowl spot I just mentioned, provided no new footage. There was nothing there. It was just a gag, a sight gag, either related to Christmas or to the Clydesdales or to both. So fans seeking an experience they can't get at home may instead wait if The Mandalorian and Grogu feels like a glorified TV movie, and they'll wait for it to come to Disney Minus if they still have it. And I don't think a lot of people still have Disney Minus. Do you? Let me know in the comments section below. Good time to also hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. So, with a lower budget and a more focused approach, is The Mandalorian and Grogu signaling that it's going to be along a smarter path for Disney? It could mark a more sustainable model for the future of Star Wars projects and not just throw money at, certain ideology or throw it at the wall or throw it at untested and untried people with definitely a certain kind of agenda, which some of them don't even want to hide. The not so secret agendas. Yeah, those are the ones I worry about. At the end of the day, the question is going to be, and Trevor poses it in the article, is there any goodwill left for Star Wars? I would be hard pressed to say that I feel it. I don't think anybody that I know feels it. And everybody who's seen recent Star Wars just kind of feels sad. And that's not good. If you were an original fan and this was a generational property for you that you passed on to your kids, your grandkids, your nieces and nephews, other members of your family, other friends who'd never experienced it before, you kind of feel betrayed because it became what it became, which was, well, a shadow of itself. And unlike a Force Ghost, I don't know if it's necessarily going to be able to come back, and I'm not sure if anybody's imparting any wisdom here. But that's where you come in because, we share the conversation around here. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think The Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be set up to be a success? Do you agree that because of its low budget, it has a better chance at being profitable and being something Disney can be proud of for a change? Or do you think somehow they will kick themselves in the teeth and we'll be looking at Pedro Pascal more than we want to in a negative light? Let me know your thoughts on Mandalorian and Grogu and your expectations in the comments section below. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya. Just maybe not watching Star Wars anymore, except for the old stuff. That was good.